Real reason Julie Chrisley did not want to appear for resentencing. A federal judge recently ruled that Julie Chrisley would have to appear in person for her resentencing hearing next month. The Chrisley Knows Best star wanted to appear remotely for the resentencing, but her request was denied. Here are the reasons Julie didn't want to have to appear in court. Julie Chrisley's request to appear remotely denied by judge. Julie Chrisley's lawyer suggested that appearing in person for the upcoming resentencing would cause her undue physical harm. She will have to travel a long way and be shackled for hours to get to court. Currently, Julie is being held at FMC Lexington in Kentucky. She will have to travel to Atlanta for the court hearing. The star's lawyer said that officials likely would transfer Julie via the transfer facility in Oklahoma City or place her in a van for a lengthy, multiple-hour trip while shackled to facilitate her appearance in court. On top of that, her lawyer said, either option would remove Ms. Chrisley from FMC Lexington for an unnecessarily extended period of time and impose undue physical hardship on her. Prosecutors did not oppose Julie's request. However, the Chrisley Knows Best star's request to appear via video conference was denied by the judge. Judge Eleanor L. Ross ordered law enforcement to bring Julie Chrisley to court. You are hereby commanded to have the body of Julie Chrisley by you restrained of her liberty, as it is said, by whatsoever names detained before the Honorable Eleanor L. Ross, United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia, the order read. It continued, stating that Julie would need to be present in the courtroom in the city of Atlanta at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 25. She will have to attend court each day until the resentencing is complete. Thence to be returned to the custody from which she came, and have you this writ, the order concluded. Savannah Chrisley holding out hope Julie will be home for holidays. Todd and Julie Chrisley were found guilty of tax evasion and bank fraud in 2022. Julie was sentenced to 7 years initially, and Todd was sentenced to 12. Last September, their sentences were reduced to 6 and 10 years. The couple immediately started the appeals process following their guilty verdicts. Ultimately, the United States Court of Appeals upheld their convictions, but it was ruled that there wasn't enough evidence to hold Julie Chrisley responsible for the crimes that occurred before 2007. This led to the court ordering Julie to be resentenced. Fans have weighed in on what a resentencing might look like for Julie. Her daughter, Savannah Chrisley, is hopeful that her mom will be home in time for the holidays. Many fans think she is being delusional, but it isn't outside of the realm of possibilities. The real reason Julie Chrisley did not want to appear for her resentencing has long been a point of speculation for fans and media outlets. After months of legal battles, public scrutiny, and the emotional toll that her family's reality television empire has endured, her decision not to appear in court seemed perplexing. However, beneath the surface lies a deeper narrative of vulnerability, fear, and the long-term consequences of public life unraveling in ways Julie could have never imagined. A shattered image. Julie Chrisley spent years carefully crafting the image of the perfect Southern matriarch on Chrisley Knows Best. Fans were introduced to her as a devoted wife to Todd, the quintessential homemaker with a touch of sass, and the glue holding her blended family together. Her calm demeanor, stylish appearances, and sharp wit made her a beloved figure on television. But behind the camera, Julie was grappling with far more than what audiences saw. The Chrisleys' legal troubles began when they were charged with tax evasion, bank fraud, and conspiracy in 2019. At first, both Todd and Julie maintained their innocence, portraying themselves as victims of a smear campaign. They remained defiant, hoping that their public personas would shield them from the harsh realities of their legal battle. Yet, as the court proceedings dragged on, the cracks in their once perfect image started to show. Julie, in particular, found herself struggling to reconcile the person she had shown the world with the accusations being leveled against her. By the time her resentencing was announced, Julie's once steely resolve had given way to a profound sense of dread. She no longer wanted to be seen, not in the courtroom, not in the public eye, and certainly not in the vulnerable position that came with being a defendant facing a potentially harsher sentence. The weight of guilt and public humiliation. Julie's reluctance to appear at her resentencing stemmed, in part, from the overwhelming guilt she carried. Though she and Todd had presented a united front throughout their legal ordeal, Julie privately wrestled with her role in their financial misdeeds. While Todd had always been the more dominant personality, steering the family's business decisions, Julie knew that she hadn't been completely innocent. There were moments she could have questioned him, moments she could have taken a stand or sought outside counsel. Instead, she allowed herself to be swept up in the Chrisley empire, trusting that Todd knew best. As the evidence piled up and their convictions seemed inevitable, Julie's sense of guilt only deepened. She wasn't just guilty in the eyes of the law. She was guilty in the eyes of her family, her fans, and most painfully herself. For someone who had always prided herself on her integrity, this was a crushing blow. On top of that, the public humiliation was unbearable. Every aspect of her life had been dissected and judged by the media and onlookers. The once glamorous Julie Chrisley had become fodder for tabloid headlines, reduced to a caricature of a fallen reality star. She feared that attending her resentencing would only add fuel to that fire, giving the media another opportunity to vilify her. Julie's once strong public image had been shattered, and she couldn't bear to face the cameras again. A fractured family. Another factor in Julie's decision not to appear at her resentencing was the impact her legal battles had on her family. The Chrisley children, particularly Savannah and Chase, had rallied around their parents, but the strain was palpable. Behind the scenes, Julie's relationships with her children were crumbling under the weight of their shared trauma. No longer able to shield her family from the consequences of their actions, Julie was consumed by guilt and regret. In particular, her bond with Savannah had suffered. Savannah had always looked up to her mother, viewing her as the epitome of grace and strength. But as the legal battle intensified, Savannah saw a different side of Julie, one marked by fear, anxiety, and desperation. Julie's decision to avoid the resentencing hearing was, in part, a way to protect her children from witnessing her at her lowest point. She didn't want them to see her crumble in front of a judge, to see her reduced to a mere defendant in a courtroom. Julie also feared that her appearance at the resentencing would drive a deeper wedge between her and Todd. Throughout the trial, the couple had presented a united front, but behind closed doors, tensions were high. Julie had grown tired of the lies, the denials, and the facade they'd built. She wasn't sure if their marriage could survive another public courtroom battle. Her decision not to appear was, in part, an attempt to preserve what little remained of their relationship. Anxiety and mental health struggles. Julie's decision to skip her resentencing hearing was also driven by her mental health struggles, something she had tried to keep hidden for years. As a reality TV star, she had always been expected to maintain a certain level of poise and composure, but the mounting legal pressure had taken a significant toll on her mental well-being. Anxiety, sleepless nights, and panic attacks had become a regular part of her life since the trial began. The thought of standing before a judge once more, facing the possibility of an extended prison sentence, filled Julie with an overwhelming sense of dread. Her anxiety had reached a point where the mere idea of being in a courtroom again was unbearable. For someone who had spent her life carefully managing her image and emotions, The loss of control was terrifying. Her mental health had deteriorated to the point where appearing in court was no longer an option she could handle.